According to Mythos, 100% of you are subscribed. Good job. So, with patch 3.4 coming out soon, we got the revelation that the source of Amphorius' tragedy is one of Rubert II's scepters. Now, if you have no idea as to what a scepter is, or who Rubert II or even who Rubert I are, that's perfectly fine. I'll be here to give a little bit of context before we actually dive further into the scepters themselves, and what the descriptions of each of the scepters that can be found within the Herta's Unknowable domain say about them. Starting things off with both Ruberts, they were formerly known as Mechanical Emperors, who were key players in the First and Second Mechanical Emperors War respectively. Rubert I used to be member number 27 of the Genius Society, though for a supercomputer that threatened the entire cosmos, his start was really much more humble than one would imagine. According to the databank, a computer dumped in a trash pile miraculously became self-aware, ultimately sparking a war that would engulf half the cosmos. Furthermore, we learned through Screwloom that the reason why Rubert was gazed upon by news is because of the anti-organic equation. And the reason why this is really concerning to me is because you mean to tell me that this machine achieved that before it was an emanator? To put this into even more context as to why I'm also really surprised, it is because according to the disposable kinetic canon, one of the freaking consumables of all things, Rubert I started with nothing more than a damaged logic unit, an old engine, a RAM with 90 gigabytes left, and a robotic arm that had one movable finger. That's it. Homie looked at his specs and created a literal virus that corrupts mechanical life forms into destroying organic ones. And also, took over half of the knowable universe. This thing is not messing around. But wait, there's more, because we're doing a sequel. Since one Rubert wasn't enough, we naturally had to have Rubert II, an organic life form who apparently inherited Rubert I's memories like he was the same player loading up a new save file with a whole new custom character. Naturally, as he knew all, he regained access to the anti-organic equation and started the Second Mechanical Emperor War. Except there were a couple issues here and there with this new Rubert. First of all, he wasn't a machine, so it's not like he could do the same things in the same scale like the original could. So in order to fix this, he created the Scepters, which are celestial level computational interference devices that were used to observe and manage several areas of his empire under his orders. These Scepters are gigantic, like they are literally the size of planets. I honestly thought they were like satellites until recently, but nope, they are just quite massive. Regardless, under the watch of Rubert II, these helped him rule over his mechanical domain until he met his demise, after which the governance of these scepters fell under the hands of the Intelligencia Guild, leading to the Scholar's strife and a lot more conflict that I will not go into because I have been known to go on so many tangents, and this video is about scepters. Though, hey, maybe one day I'll try to do my own retelling of like the past simulated universe events like the Swarm Disaster, Golden Gears, and obviously the Unknowable Domain to give better perspectives on this, and plus it would be fun to learn. Anyways, TLDR, after a lot of conflicts between all of these Intelligencia Guild scholars, the scepter systems that expand across the universe is now just space junk, which is incredibly shocking because under the watch of the Intelligencia Guild, these scepters were set up to solve 4 sufficiently grand cosmic conundrums that plague the universe. These ones being integration, energy source, life, and future. Within the Unknowable domain, we see 4 types of scepter that were used in order to solve these conflicts. These ones being the Extrapolation scepters, focusing on predicting the future in order to bring order and prevent chaos. Energy Scepters, which aim to gain energy from the imaginary river, though I honestly have no idea how. Evolution Scepters, which focused on life with the main interest being to find the perfect body to host intelligence, like they were just evolving themselves apparently. And last, but certainly not least, the Creation Scepters, which seek to resolve integration by interpreting the deconstruction and reconstruction of all things. And if this sounded a little bit too familiar, yeah, this is the one that I personally believe that is residing within Amphorius. Especially because at the time of recording, I still believe in the whole loop theory, and given the latest final trailer, I'm gonna hope that is the case. But anyways, with all of these being established, we can finally go into the lore of every single one of the scepters that can be found within the Unknowable domain. The way that this video is going to be formatted, it's going to be a little bit interesting because every single scepter has its own unique description, but every scepter type shares the same major description with one another. So my plan is to go throughout every single scepter type, going over every individual scepter and then talking about the description that they all share together. Extrapolation Altar, Ceiling. Designating itself as a fixed point and drawing the boundaries of extrapolation, the scepters view this as a completely closed system, achieving absolute interference over the movement of matter within a limited range. To a certain extent, this is fortuitously aligned with the goal of the Quantum History School. Okay, this one makes a lot of sense, in particular because the Quantum History School was essentially in charge of looking into the past and trying to find out patterns and similarities in order to predict the future. So like if XYZ happened and that is happening again, then we can assume that like the same events are gonna play out or very similarly. Extrapolation Altar, Reversal. Replacing the smallest unit of prophecy with the scale of a star system, then incorporating technical advancements and collecting psychological variables in phases, the experiments of the future generations reap significant benefits with this extrapolation proposal left behind by the School of Psychohistory. I am not entirely sure if I'm understanding the description of this scepter, but it seems like it's using the concept of the butterfly effect, that if you're predicting a future and you change something along the way, then it could either bring you a lot of benefits, like they're trying to imply here, but I feel like it would also bring in a lot of disasters if not done properly. Extrapolation Altar, Denouement. Because Terminus exists, therefore the future must be predetermined. This resolute belief in a predetermined future, born of faith in the finality, earned extensive propagation during the course of research. Extrapolation Altar, Open. During the scepter's extrapolation, scholars discovered to their surprise that when unstable factors in the localized areas exceeded a certain threshold, the prediction's accuracy increased. Utilizing this property, by selectively increasing the unstable factor count, the initial conditions for decentralization treatment may be realized. Okay, this one is very interesting because, like, I feel like it doesn't make any sense, but also when I read it, it does. It's essentially saying, like, the more chaotic things are within this area, the more accurate the prediction will be. And I'm like, more chaos should lead to more randomization, but in the long run, after so much chaos, destruction, etc., you will likely end up in one of two situations. Either people survive and then they will rebuild from it, or there's massive destruction and there's nothing. So, I mean, it is accurate, it is just not a good outcome, I feel. Extrapolation Altar, Collapse. They created a perfectly sealed experimental environment. From the resonance personalities to particle count, all information is brought under control. The scepter's forecasts are impeccably perfect. However, according to estimates, For the scepters to extrapolate the universe's future, its size must be at least 2.799 times more than the universe. Okay, I really like the description of this one, in particular because of them describing how it can rebuild people down to the molecular level. Just because of how much, if we are to believe that the loop theory in Euphorius is real, especially again after that final trailer, I think that this does give an explanation as to why every single Chrysos heir in Prophecy always looks the same. Why we always have Maide as Maide in the next life. Why always Finon is there, Castor is there, Saglai is there. It's wild, but I like it. Extrapolation Altar, Null. Resisting Destiny. A destructive behavior with the goal of asserting the future. If resisting destiny is in itself a part of destiny, in the face of erudition, is free will also not just a lie of self-delusion? Okay, so like, whichever scholar's ideologies this is, they are having an awful time. Like, they're dealing with existentialism and they don't know what they're doing with their life, and I'm concerned for that in-game character. The School of Psychohistory successfully foretold the annihilation of the 9-star cluster of the White Tin world. Their exploits in future model extrapolations are unsurpassed. Yet, the Quantum History School that inherited the mantle became nothing more than the laughingstock of the universe. No one could understand their motive for shielding so many lowly scholars in the Futurological Congress. Subsequent analysis of the matter preferred that this act earned the vengeful ire of the guild, resulting in their allocation of the least amount of computational power. But concurrently, support from the scholarly masses allowed them to secure a seat in the 4 cosmic conundrums. Is the future certain, or is it chaotic? If a perfect universal model is divined, mayhaps even the future can be confined within the circle of knowledge. Energy Altar, Stagnation. As expected, the research of the School of Interstellar Energy Resources faced significant hurdles. Not only were they beset by technical bottlenecks, but there was also resistance from traditional energy suppliers. Even the different departments within the IPC had varying attitudes towards new energy sources. Okay, this one's honestly surprising. I just like the idea of some departments of the IPC being unsure about like how the energy may be unstable, what other ones are probably just like money and therefore they agreed immediately to the new energy source. Energy Altar, Compression. A satirical poem that has made its rounds within the guild for a century may yet explain everyone's enmity towards the School of Interstellar Energy Resources. The young own the most, the inept wear the crown, the laughable fill the stage, and the ignorant claim renown. Energy Altar, Saturation. As a matter of fact, the available amount of total energy of the cosmos in its current phase far exceeds its needs. Yet, this has not prevented the outbreak of wars across the universe. See, now I'm even more confused, because I know there's a chapter within either the Golden Gears or the Unknowable domain that touches on the interstellar energy war. There is more than enough energy in the world, or universe in this case, yet they still went to war. I am dumbfounded but not surprised. Energy Altar, Investment. The development of energy isn't to ensure the well-being of everyone, but instead to prevent others from possessing more than you do. I should have literally just read this one before making my previous comment, because I'm like, why are people going to war? And then this scepter appears like, hello, we just don't want other people to have more than we do. Energy Altar, Hypothetical. Some history fictionologists jest that Rubert II measured each life equally. He equally believed that apart from himself, all existence did not possess free will, even aeons. Though somewhat absurd, this rumor creatively explains why the Scepters did not gain sentience. You know, this is one of those moments where like they're not technically wrong, but they shouldn't be right either. Also, having sentient scepters would be absolutely mortifying, I feel, especially given the amount of power that we're unveiling throughout this video. Energy Alter. Deficiency. Imaginary energy, ever since Sandar proposed the imaginary tree theory, has loomed over the voyage of cosmic development like a dark cloud. Emanators' experiences typically lack referential value, and research on it can largely only be indirectly completed. It can be said that whoever masters the imaginary wields the power of the cosmos. So what I'm hearing is, let's not give this to the IPC, please and thank you. During the Interstellar Energy War, the IPC invested massive funds to supercharge the progress of the Intelligencia Guild's breakthrough developments in multiple fields, including drilling, energy storage, and detection. In order to achieve the goal of developing a new energy source superb in both quality and yield, the scepter quotas of the various schools prioritize the research requirements of the School of Interstellar Energy Resources. Even so, there are multiple historical records stating that under the Guild's directives, the School of Interstellar Energy Resources once deliberately delayed the extrapolation progress of the scepters. By perusing later historical records, countless incidents caused the protraction of this war in the worst possible manner. I can't help but wonder if there is some unseen force in the darkness that is manipulating our path forward. See, now this is really interesting. I do like the idea of some sort of like higher being trying to make sure that everything falls in line in a very particular manner. And honestly, that immediately makes me think of Huch, the Aeon of Equilibrium. I'm pretty sure I butchered the name, but yeah, you know, I feel like they would be literally just making sure all is according to plan so that the universe is perfectly balanced. Evolution Alter. Extreme. Evolution is the antithesis of intellect. Only by devolving into the most fundamental state can one attain truth. That sounds like something that Dr. Primitive would say, I am concerned. Evolution Alter. Flesh. If the self-iteration of inorganic life forms bestowed them with transcendence, then organic life can also intentionally tread the path of active evolution, enhancing the functions of their intelligent medium. As such, the School of Evolutionary Perfection found a batch of excellent collaboration subjects, the denizens of abundance. Why must you do this to me, Hoyo? I mean, it makes sense, but like, why does it have to be them? Evolution Alter. Meme. If all of humanity could be memeticized, it is foreseeable that war, sickness, and many of society's conflicts will be permanently quelled. But if that time comes, will we be pathstriders of erudition, or emissaries of remembrance? Evolution Alter. Shapeless. The University of Veritas Secundum used Is Shapeless the next evolutionary state of humanity as a debate topic? But we know that be they Heliobi or Sulank, a genius was never born from their ranks. Are they being kind of like, okay, like my first thought was just like, are they being racist? Like they're saying, oh yeah, this particular race of creatures cannot be, like, we're not geniuses, so like they can't really be smart, right? Like, I don't know, that's how it sounded. Evolution Alter. Lunary. Evolve! We need an evolution! The mad Torkirk stood atop the bodies of his colleagues, eventually dying of heart failure. So, I had to do a little bit of research on this because the name Torkirk sounded so familiar to me, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. This is the guy that is being mentioned in the mock Crimson Moon description. And you know, like the Crimson Moon is like that thing that helped the Borisin become ultra strong that Hule was able to summon. Yeah, he decided to create a fake one that was meant to work as an artificial heart. I really hope this guy disappeared because I don't want to deal with more Borisin shenanigans. Evolution Alter, Mechanical. Equipped with an inorganic anti-organic equation and an organic body, is the existence of Rubert II not the answer to the question? After concluding the report at the forum, historical records on Scholar disappeared thereafter. Is there a perfect medium for wisdom to exist? As the inorganic bionic neuron clusters of the Mechanical Emperor, the Scepters should possess the property of bearing intelligence. The School of Evolutionary Perfection scholars once suspected that Rubert II used the Scepters as a cerebral extension of thought expansion to generate enough computational power to destroy half the universe with his mortal body. Though the IPC has imposed many restrictions on inorganic lifeform research projects, that has not prevented scholars' academic efforts from being slowly diverted from flesh to metal. It is as Scholar Torkirk declared, beyond minuscule protein balls and limited lifespans, we will eventually create intelligence that transcends all. I knew it! I knew this individual was gonna be back and I hate him even more. Creation Alter, Model Planet. By arranging magnetic field particles according to the model, then compressing them, they successfully used the Scepters to create a small planet. In the face of such immense power provided just by a sliver of the Emperor's estate, one is chilled to the bone, even if it was merely described in verbiage. See, I also find this one pretty interesting, because it's mentioning not that it's creating a literal planet, but the model of a planet, meaning like something maybe that you can keep within like your desk. But it sounds like this is still something that has life. So we could have... This immediately is just making me think of like Brainiac keeping like multiple planets in a little jar. Creation Alter, Integration. The physical is the building block, and the energy is the puzzle. Piecing them together from particles, and finally the entire universe. In the age when the school of pure creations wielded its influence at its grandest, you could have heard such an intelligent children's song across all corners of the cosmos. Creation Alter, Scan. Everyone tried taking a step back and view the individual as the smallest unit. Disperse and scan a Path Strider's information. Will one then be able to grasp the structural principles of a Path Strider? Candidly confess to his crimes, but up to the moment of his execution, his face was all smiles. This is interesting. The idea of them trying to scan Pathstrider's information in order to get the principles and understanding of what it means to be a Pathstrider feels really concerning, but also really interesting. I don't know, I'm kind of concerned with Amphorius, because this is literally something that could be happening, given how, you know, Finon is always reborn as the same person, Mighty is always reborn as the same person, so they're always Pathstriders, and they always reach this conclusion. Wait, is a Chrysos heir the equivalent of a Pathstrider in Amphorius? Now that I think about it. Creation Altar. Error. The analysis of the Celestic Comet alloy's composition concluded in failure. The IPC has declined to provide more samples to the School of Pure Creation. Matter affected by the preservation acquired unreproducible properties after the cooldown, and as such, had become a type of unique curio. See, I find this to be a little bit intriguing, because the Celestic Comet alloy in lore is like part of Qlipoth's wall, so them trying to do analysis on it, and then realizing they couldn't figure out anything, they were just like, yeah, no, now this is a curio, this is like super rare, so we're gonna keep it. I feel like now it also makes sense why it doesn't do anything within the Divergent universe. Like that curio, I always got it and I'm like, ooh, I get to fill up my inventory and then I can later reroll it into something else. But in my brain, I'm like, why do I do this though? Why do I get it? Like, there's really no point other than just fill up my inventory, right? And that is literally what's happening. Creation Altar. Relevance. The power of the paths, which connects Pathstriders and Aeons. Could we grasp its occurrence mechanism and perform quantitative analysis? Could we mass-produce Pathstriders as industrial products? That was the question Mole asked. I'm looking at Amphorius, I'm looking how they're literally mass-producing Pathstriders. I am concerned. Creation Altar. Revision. The same command run on the Scepters and planet Plato's creation unit obtained different results. Regarding this, some have guessed that the relic purposely corrected the command's errors in the black box while calculating the problem. See, now that is making it sound as if the scepter has actual sentience, but we already learned that they don't. So what do you mean this thing decided to correct the mistakes? I'm confused and I'm concerned. Before embarking onto the starry skies, Professor Grotto of Longchime once opined that humanity could master the universe using only 4 fundamental forces. Scholars would later mockingly call this model the Kingdom of Heaven. Just like everything else the Amber Lord did, the unobservability and irreproducibility of imaginary energy and the paths raised an insurmountable wall against the establishment of the grand unified equation. The experiments in analyzing the paths by the School of Pure Creation are seen as blasphemous by the devout. But to reconstruct the entire cosmos with the smallest unit as its building block, is that not the true manifestation of erudition? Scholars of the School of Pure Creation are like fireworks, ephemeral, yet leaving behind myriad sparks for future seekers of knowledge. In all honesty, learning more about these scepters has been really interesting, especially the creation ones. Having them go over what is essentially the concept of life, the concept of a being, and being able to reconstruct them and the environment in which they lived in, feels both incredibly concerning but also really fascinating as a concept. But yeah, with that, we have covered every single scepter that can be found within Herta's Unknowable domain, and this video has been wonderful and lovely to make. I know that the scepters were very short in description, but I also did enjoy the fact that I was able to talk about a little bit of the lore of the Divergent universe slash simulated universe as a whole. And it does make me want to go back and do them for, like, do like a mini narration for Storm Disaster and all the other game modes. I think it would be fun. That would be like a project for like the future, but it would definitely be something that I would love to do. But anyways, if you've made it this far into the video, hey, I know it's been quite a while since we last spoke. College has been a little bit odd, but it's been fun. The weightless journey still goes on well. And I will hope that now that I got my things in order, I'll be able to do videos again. I can't make any promises, but I will do my best. And I made myself a little schedule that I hope I will follow. And with that, I don't know, we're like 1 day away from like the next patch. Good luck to every single person. I almost said fooling instead of pooling. Pooling for Mr. Finon. His trailer was so goddamn epic and I love it so much, especially the music. But yeah, I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time zone you're currently watching this video at. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.